We scar from the streets, that's the mark of the beast. Thou shalt not covet or running your charm and your peace. I'm heartless. The black market should be marketed me. Money said that? Sound like Triple H? I've been better than you am. Triple H am. Joe Budden reacts to Lord Above?
Oh, really?
And he actually likes it? And also gives his opinion on Nick Cannon? Let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, gross. Joe Budden of the Joe Budden podcast. I watch it all the time, listen to it all the time. If there's one thing that we may or may not know, or you may or may not know, if there's one thing that's true is Joe Budden and Eminem have had a weird relationship. Now, Joe was with Slaughterhouse, which is in shade with Shady, and essentially was gung-ho, protecting M, fighting for M, all of that, caping for M, all that. After Slaughterhouse broke up, around the Everyday Struggle time, Joe Budden came out and said some unsavory things about M's Revival album, which I also am not a fan of the album whatsoever. But the Kamikaze album was fire. But on the he talked about the Kamikaze album weirdly because he was still upset, and they've been going back and forth. Joe got dissed on the Kamikaze album. That's another reason why. But we got this today, so let's get right into it. On the Joe Budden podcast, Maul, Rory, and Joe sit there and talk about the Nick Cannon versus Eminem. Joe gives his take, and that's what we're going to listen to. They cut out the audio. I didn't do that. They cut out the audio on their own side. So
I didn't hear the lyrical breakdown. About to hear it right crazy?
They're going to give a lyrical.
Like to hear it, here it go.
I love this podcast. Let's keep it a buck. I love the podcast. All right, he's listening to it. We could skip around this a little bit. Hold up. I don't want to skip too far until he makes a sound. Hold up. Look at him. He's smiling. He's smiling. He laughed there. We skipped the laugh. Hold on. Did we catch the laugh? There we go. All right, so they're listening. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of the situation.
All right. He got off after the Nick bullshit.
All right. Now, I would say that Rory is weird. I think Rory is he was getting off the whole verse. Now, I wonder if he's saying like he just didn't like the content. This, that, and the third, maybe. See, I understand the people because there's been people who have to take that Eminem is too big and has done too much to now be moonwalking back and talking about Nick Cannon. With me, you know how petty I be. I be Petty Murphy. I be Petty Winslow. You know what I mean? Pet and petty. That's how I be. So I'd be like, yo, he clearly has a real problem with the Mariah situation, and he gonna keep bringing it up. But let's also not play like Nick wasn't the first person. M isn't responding to something that Nick said about physically harming him. That's what we're talking about. But even in this podcast, when they say, like, when Rory and them is saying that he getting off, that means that M was getting super busy on that verse. Because I'm not saying that they clearly have a bias. You know what I'm saying? And their bias, like I always say, you follow the bias, you follow her. The bias is Joe. Now, all of us have a bias. You know what I mean? All of us have a bias. So it's harder for them lately to praise M on certain things. So look, yeah, Joe feeling it. Yeah.
Joyner, sit this one out. He got this, Joyner. Word. Turn down, Rory.
Yeah.
Then Logic, chill. We don't need you on this one.
Definitely don't need Logic. Bobby Boy do not need to snap on that.
All right, turns off.
You know what I like about Joe too, and this is what I feel about all content creators who speak about things. Like, I'll put it like this. I'm a rapper, and I speak about rap. I speak about a lot of things, right? The thing that I hate is watching people who, before you click on the video, you know what they gonna say. There might be some videos where I'm like, oh, M got busy on that verse. Then there might be some videos where I'm like, oh, that was M singing on that hook was garbaggio. Then there might be some, I keep it real to keep it real. You can tell, and that's because integrity means the most to me. And I feel like, and I don't care about the backlash of people. I'm not here to just make certain fan bases happy. I gotta keep reiterating that. And you can tell Joe's like,
all right,
that
now
too.
that I've heard this, M sounds good.
Yeah, he got off.
He does. That
to me, one of the best verses.
That is one of the better verses I've heard, and a second from him on the feature.
Mm-hmm.
Now they come in very. Here's the thing. Another thing I don't like. Listen. You remember the energy Joe was coming at M with. Hold up. You remember the energy, huh? What was he saying? I've been better than you, M. With the wife beat, I've been better than you, M. Remember when he said that? Sound like Triple H? I've been better than you, M. Triple H, M. McMahon. No, my bad. So, I don't like how he had all that energy where he was sweating under his collar. And then when M gets, he got insanely busy on this song. You even hear Maul saying, this might be the best M verse I've heard in a long time. I want you to keep that same energy, man. Why ain't you keeping that same energy, Joe, huh? I need you to be flipping over furniture, elbow dropping stuff, because you give so much energy to the negative that when you don't give the same energy to the positive, it looks type weird. That's what I always say. The best motto I live by in life is, if you don't show the same energy to me when I make a mistake as when I do something right, then I will never take your anger seriously. It's a bar.
Why did he do that though?
I just starting with the Nick shit kind of take away from how dope the verse was.
Yeah,
I think
he was sitting there reminiscing. He said it right in the lyrics.
Yeah, but it came from Nick had he spoke about the situation they had and some.
Thank you, Maul. I hate it when people be talking and just don't be having all the tools. Like Maul, Rory, I get it, man. I rock with you. I rock with this whole movement. I get it. But that Nick shit was not that corny, bro. Like, you trying to push that, the Nick stuff. Like, before you even, notice how before you even credited the verse, the first thing you said was, after the Nick stuff, it got dope. So you had to say, this part was whack first, then that. I don't think that was even true. That Nick part wasn't whack. And now y'all acting like, because Rory must not have known everything, so he was banking on the fact that, I'm just doing this for no reason. Maul know what he talking about.
Recently, and I think he said he would, put hands on.
There it is.
Whatever. So maybe this was in response to that.
Okay. See, I didn't know that part.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? As long as, and that's why I like Rory. He said, I didn't know that. But this is another thing where I always say, pay attention to the buyers. Here's my question. You had no information whether that was true or whether that was not. But you assumed the worst. You assume, because the fact that you didn't know, I'm not even going to say that. You assumed the worst because you kind of wanted the worst, I feel like. I feel like that's what it was. That's where you went first, and then it's like, no, this isn't the initial blow. This is a second round. You feel me? Yeah.
If Nick was still talking about it, okay, I guess.
There it is.
Yeah, but even that was it's still I wouldn't do it in a verse, though.
Yeah, you would.
Nick Cannon?
M doesn't speak to the public.
That's a fact.
You can't.
You saying you wouldn't do it in a
And here is where I think Maul is off that bong water, where he gotta be dousing himself in I don't even know. Because he gonna try to make the point now that Eminem should have responded by going on Wilding Out and not on a verse. Which makes no sense, because I keep telling y'all, it's something about the older generation they don't realize how confused they are. If the young generation was to listen to the older generation, we would be more confused than we are now. Because I swear one day y'all will be like, man, these rappers be going on social media and going and doing all these performances for stuff, and they don't be, what happened to just back in my day, if you had a problem with a nigga who was a rapper, you put it on wax. And now it's, I think he should have just went to the reality TV show. Come on, man, went to the game show and did it. I am never going to fault a rapper for addressing somebody, something, or anything that happens in their life in music. Okay? That is something that is happening in M's life currently. So I respect him for getting on the wax and doing what he had to do. And he shot off some tweets too. So he gave him the old school version and the new school version of beef. Huh?
But earlier you said he should go on the show.
Right, because here's why I wouldn't do it in the verse if I'm him. Everybody knows that Nick Cannon can't rap with you.
Good point.
We know that.
Good point.
Like, that's not even...
Hey,
right,
but you know what? Let's stop right there for a second.
Okay.
I'd like
Joe with the rebuttal.
Touch on something briefly, pause.
It's the rebuttal round.
If M just sent unwarranted shots at Nick Cannon, and I'm saying if they were unwarranted because I don't know what preceded that.
Yeah.
As the worst rapper, what should I do?
Get Suge Knight.
Like, because he's and all the battle rappers.
Yeah, but that's why I said do it on the show.
You see what I'm saying? A lot of people gonna just hate on Joe Budden because he goes to M and they fell out and stuff like that, so he gets a lot of stan hate and stuff like that. But, bro, this podcast be dope. This podcast be dope. They be, for the most part, sometimes, and you know, it be stupid too, because that's how we be nowadays with talking head stuff. You take the good with the bad, but they got dope takes, man. They got, and Joe seems to be self-correcting himself more and more.
But I'm just saying, Nick
is too serious.
Nick been getting killed for rapping against someone that he can't out-rap. But what should he do? What is the proper protocol? What is
That raises another good question that a lot of people kept saying. See, you watch these. I'm giving y'all they giving you we watching it together. So let's have this conversation together. In the comment section, forget everything that's happened. Forget the actual records and what you heard in the bars. Was it a good idea? Do you respect Nick for responding or not? Just yes or no. Don't say if you don't like the track, that has nothing to do with what I'm saying. I'm saying, do you respect him for even coming at M at wax? Because Joe got caught one and is yet to say something about M on wax. So
appropriate response when someone
there's a Jamar too.
Better, just blatantly open.
Yo, by the way, if y'all think I'm recording this today on the 19th. And you know that rumored M album might be dropping. If you think that the Eminem album is going to drop today, put that in the comment section too. And by the way, if there's any leaks or anything, if it drops, and y'all don't hit me up and blow me up in my notifications and my Instagram and Twitter, my heart going to be broken. At SCRUFACEJEAN. That's at Screwfacejean on Instagram and Twitter. Follow me and send me a message. Because y'all going to be up in different time zones and different stuff. You're going to know. I'll help your boy.
Track with 8 bars toward you. Talking about I'm reminiscing. Hey, puns aside, your baby mom's hit the high note. And my balls with like, what do you want me to fam?
Nah,
what do you want me to do
Nick's strategy was fine. The execution was just horrible. That's all. Like, I get what he did. I get what he was trying to do. Let me get Suge. Let me get a bunch of battle rappers. I get his.
We know what the strategy was.
It came out horrible.
Yeah, Lux number.
That's a fact.
A few others. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to leave that right there. That's where the clip ends. And like I said, man, I find it weird sometimes when people like take sides to a point where they start actually hating people. But I thought that was dope, man. Shout out to